Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I have done a tennis video, and I have definitely missed it. Um, Tennis is a big part of my life. I'm always playing it and talking about it with friends, but it's great to have the opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys and hear what you have to say. So, why don't we dive in to the first major of the new decade, the 2020 Australian Open. Um, so, starting with the women, obviously, here we have our defending champion, Naomi Osaka. You probably remember that after winning the US Open in 2018, she then back to back, she backed it up by winning the Australian Open in 2019. So, why don't we look at the draws? And now I'm not going to be offering my picks on every single match, but rather I want to highlight just some of the larger groups and who I think is going to stand out, as well as what I think are some really interesting matches to look out for. Um, so going to the ladies, even though Naomi won last year, she's actually seeded third, and the number one seed is Australian Ashley Barty. Now, I think Barty is going to go quite deep in this tournament, and I think she's going to have no trouble in her section. But I will say her first matchup against Tsurenko of Ukraine, that may not be as easy as it sounds. Tsurenko is ranked fairly low, but I think it's largely because she's been out for a while and she's lost points. But she is actually a very dangerous player. I've seen her beat Osaka. She made it to the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open 2 years ago. She's one of those players that when she's hot, she's really hot, and she can beat just about anyone. So um, expect a little bit of resistance from Tsurenko, but Barty, I think, will come through in straights. Um, Now, in the next group, I think Kvitova is one to look out for. Obviously, she is your finalist from last year, and I think she should have a good chance of making it at least to the quarters. And then we get into Osaka's group. Where are you, Osaka? There she is. Now, just calling out some interesting matches. We have Maria Sharapova, who got a wild card this year. And unfortunately for Maria, she's been having a lot of early exits, a lot of tough matches, and she is going to be playing uh, Donna Vekic. I think she's on the next page, so I'm going to come back to her. But the first interesting matchup is this is a really interesting one. This is a repeat of first round from Wimbledon last year. Corey or Coco Gauff, the 15-year-old American, will once again be playing the veteran American Venus Williams, who is 25 years older than she is. That is just shocking when you think about it. That when Goff was born, Venus had already been a pro for 10 years. So I'm sure they both saw the draws and they both were like, WTF, how is this happening again so soon, first round? Um, as much as I love Venus, she's almost 40 years old and her results lately have not been great. Her ranking has fallen. And Corey Goff, I mean, since Wimbledon, she won a title. She's not winning super consistently, but she's definitely showing progress. And still at 15, she's doing pretty great. So I think this is going to be another win for the young American. Then another American, Sloane Stevens, who unfortunately, I love Sloane, but she is so hot and cold. I mean, she can win a major, and not drop a set, or she can like lose first round to someone really low ranked. And just in the last beginning of this year and the end of last year, she was just consistently losing early to players she really should have been beating. And we have a little bit of a whammy here because Shuai Zhang was her first round opponent in Australia 2 years ago and beat her. So aside from Sloane not having a lot of confidence, she's probably like feeling a little spooked that she's now facing someone who upset her 2 years ago at this same round at the same tournament. So look for a potential upset there. Then going down, we have Caroline Wozniacki, who is your winner from 2 years ago. That was her first major ever. And Wozniacki announced that she's going to be retiring. I don't know exactly why. I mean, she did get a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, which obviously can affect your performance. But she may have just said, hey, I'm almost 30. I got my major, had a great career, and now I'm ready to move on. So I certainly hope Caroline can, make a good showing at her last tournament ever. You certainly wouldn't want her to lose in the first round. And I think facing this American Katie on, she's got a pretty good chance at least of going through to to the second round. So then getting back to the match I had referenced a little earlier. Actually, no, wait, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Serena. It's been a couple of years since she's been back after having a baby. She's been in 4 major finals, and at each one she has fallen short. Like, it's just really weird. She gets all the way to the final. She looks great, and then she just flames out. She's lost all her major finals in straight sets. So obviously, or not obviously, but at least for me, I'm definitely pulling for Serena. I think her first round match against Potapova, she'll have absolutely no problem with. Potapova is not someone you would consider a dangerous floater, so look for Serena to advance there. And then finally, sorry, I know I teased this before, but Maria Sharapova, hate to say it, she's on the decline. Ever since coming back from her suspension, she really has not been able to do a whole lot. There was that one match against Halep in the first round at the US Open where she got a few rounds deep, but she has just been dealing with injuries. She admittedly says that recovery is harder at this age. She's now, I believe, 32. And Donna Vekic is a really talented young player who's seeded 19th. So sorry to say it, I don't think we're going to see a lot from Maria this tournament. And, if I had to guess, I'd say she's announcing her retirement sometime this year. Yeah, and then just to get into like who I sort of looking into my crystal ball, who I envision going on. Your number 2 seed is Pliskova. I do think she'll make it at least to the quarters. Who else? Anisimova is a really talented American who sadly had to take some time off because her father died, but she came back early this year and has done some pretty good things. And she had some great wins. She was a semifinalist at the French Open. She went pretty deep in some other majors, so that's puts her rank. I think she's 22 or 23, and she's seeded 21. Danielle Collins is another really talented American who was a semifinalist last year in Australia, who I envision going deep. And Belinda Bencic also was in the U.S. Open semifinal, and I expect to see Belinda doing good things. So just some of the names to look out for: Barty, Kvitova, Osaka, Serena Williams, Belinda Bencic, Danielle Collins, Anisimova, and Pliskova. So that is the ladies. Let's quickly move on to the gentlemen. Now, if we look at just, we're going to skip the interesting matches because there's really nothing that unusual. I just want to talk about who the standouts are for me. In this first section, you have Nadal. I think he's going to have absolutely no trouble. I know people have been talking about a potential meetup with Kyrgios in the 4th round. I just don't think Kyrgios will make it that far. I think he'll either fall earlier or Team will beat him. I do see Medvedev advancing as well as Goffin. And then my other picks for the quarters are Borna Coric. Yes, you heard that correctly, Borna Coric. I think I passed over Berrettini. He did some nice things last year, but I don't know. I don't see him having staying power. Roger Federer is my sort of nostalgic favorite. I'm picking him to advance, as well as Tsitsipas and Djokovic. And beyond that, I will talk about more with later videos. Play starts tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 11 a.m. in Australia, 4 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. I am very excited for this first Grand Slam of the new year and new decade. Would love to know what you guys think, if there are any upsets in the making, any surprise winners. Will this be the year that we see someone other than the big three, someone in that next gen among the men break through? Will Tsitsipas or Medvedev get their first final? I would love to know what you guys think. All right, until next video, enjoy the tennis, and I will talk to you soon.